Hi, everyone. I wanted to cover kind of the nuts and bolts of outreach here for Resource, and I'm going to start from the very basics of creating a campaign from scratch, covering what it looks like here on the left-hand side for some more supporting features, and of course, sourcing on LinkedIn, and you can also source on AngelList and GitHub. So the major thing to start with, of course, is starting a new campaign. Now you can always duplicate from a prior one. Just know that it'll save you a ton of time later if you got a few campaigns built. Filter by assigned to me might be easier. And then, of course, you could duplicate any of these by visiting them and clicking on the duplicate button. You can also search for campaigns by name up here in the upper left, hitting the spy class icon. If I hit the big red new, big shiny button there, I get a new campaign. I'm the default sender because I created it, though that sender can be changed to anybody else in the account. And I can also call this something else. Well, let me do something like this. And I can begin authoring my subject line and initial messaging, all of that. Now, we will inherit these first name and company tokens from whatever you source from. So on the candidate profiles, these will fill in. I'm just going to throw something new here. The initial messaging you can basically author right here if you'd like to, and add hyperlinks, lists, bullets, images, emojis, all that kind of stuff. Although I'm going to cheat really quickly and borrow from some of Doug's messaging, which is simple as grabbing the add a template button here. If I go over to Teams template, I can then grab and I can be, okay, I'm going to steal Doug's general message 1, apply, loads it in. And then I could always change the signature to be cheers, Dylan. Perfect. Thank you, Doug. Now I want to have a total of 3 messages in my outreach campaign. If a candidate replies to the second one, we're going to omit them from the third and so on. But I want to make sure I have the highest chance of getting a reply. So I'm going to have at least 3 messages. I can control how often they go out or what the delay is between the cadence. I'm going to go with 4 days. So this will be come out 4 days after the first. And I'll go for 5 days after the second. And I'm still going to go in here, add a template, and steal from Doug. Thank you very much. I'm in. So I've got my 3 messages. They're all set. They're going to go out on a delay. And I'm just about to set the messaging schedule and preferences that will dictate when message 1 goes out and then how the follow-ups then follow suit. So if I go over to settings, I can then control a few more options for just this campaign. I did glance over the Insights menu just because we don't have anything here, but this menu will update automatically over time with sourced, contacted, replied, interested replies. All that data will come in as the campaign begins to send and receive mail. So I'm going to go to settings. One note here is this is where you'll go to optionally attach this job to a greenhouse requisition. If you do so, as you source folks into this outreach campaign, they will then be transmitted to Greenhouse with their contact info and their mail history, their activity from Resource as a prospect profile into the attached requisition. This is always optional, but it does save you the time having to tell the ATS about your work here. You can then convert a person from prospect to candidate, begin interviewing them through the ATS, all that kind of stuff. So just know you can connect it here to send folks back over to the ATS as you search for them. Email preferences, by default, we're going to try to find you all the mail we can. We have 4 data partners and a human search team who look for this contact information. We then prefer personal email. But if that personal email bounces or we go down the list from there, we find a work email, we'll attempt delivery there if personal preferred is bubbled. If personal only is selected, we'll never attempt a non-personal email. So we'll hold folks who only have a work email, for example. This will impact your email find rate. My inclination here is to leave it at personal preferred, though you can make the judgment on any requisitions that you have a preference here for. Delivery window. This is the only time we will send outreach. First message, second message, doesn't matter. They're going to follow these open windows that you control. You can change this after a message has gone out. You can always mess with this part of the app, but just know we're only going to deliver mail during these times that you have control over, that you set. Campaign collaborators, simply allowing somebody else a quick way of finding my campaign if they're helping me source. So while they're on LinkedIn with our Chrome extension, campaigns that you create or that you're a collaborator of will bubble to the top, making it easier to source across a few if you are listed here. So you can add a team member there. Click tracking, if you embed hyperlinks, will tell you who interacts with them. You can enable or disable this if you don't want us to look at that data. Require candidate review is simply a way to put a secondary hold on a candidate, and we can do this in a couple places. This is the most strict place to set it. You set it here, any candidate ever added to this campaign will require secondary approval. If you'd like, and my preference is to do it actually, if I look at the Chrome extension here for Raj, if I want just Raj to submit for review just for a particular candidate, I can person by person select this before they're sourced on their profile. Much easier that way usually. These big numbers at the bottom, not a huge deal. They are the Gmail send limit for all mail accounts inside of Gmail. So my Dylan at resource.io is governed by a 2,000 mail per day limit, though I would never hit that. But if you start 10 campaigns in somebody's name, they're the sender of them, that would begin to tick away at this count as you source hundreds into each of those 10 campaigns. So you can always tell us as a resource app to limit the amount of mail we send to new candidates per day and the amount of mail we send to follow up existing candidates per day by changing these numbers for the campaign. So I have messaging, I have settings set up. I'm going to hit the big red start. And I'm live. I do get a couple warnings. I didn't connect a Greenhouse integration or Greenhouse job with this, so I get the little header data. And I'm also outside my own delivery window, which is totally fine, but it's just letting me know that those are the current parameters. If I head over to LinkedIn, log into Recruiter, I can then start using the Chrome extension to add people into Resource. So I'm just pulled up any particular person's profile from a search. Once I'm viewing their individual profile page, I can click on the Chrome extension to bring it out from the sidebar. And then I need to provide 2 data points to help our data partners do some email matching. And those are the public profile link and the PDF. Public profile link, if you right click it, it'll bring up a submenu. And I'm using the quick link then that says copy to resource. So that tells us what Raj you're looking at. And then if I download the PDF, which is this black arrow next to send in mail, save to PDF is a default feature of LinkedIn. So if I save to PDF, the resource plugin is going to pick up that download and give us first, last, and current company. If we find any immediate email results, they'll list here. If we don't have immediate email results, don't worry. We'll still do all of our search parameter work, and our human search team will take a look at the queue. So keep sourcing, and we will let you know if we find an email within 24 hours. Select the campaign you want to add them to. So let's see, which one did I start working on? I may need to actually refresh this because I built a campaign while this page was open. So let me take a look real quick. There's my CSM search one. So I'm selecting the campaign from here, and I've inherited that messaging that I've set up. Now I have a few options, and just note that all customizations I make while viewing this page, while I'm on this person's profile, are customizations only this person will see. So feel free to call things out if you share maybe an alma mater, maybe you're also a Master of Science grad in HRM. You could always call those things out, and we will deliver just this customization to this person. If you'd like to edit the delivery window or the second, third, fourth, or so on messages for this person, you absolutely can. Go to the 3 dots here on the right, and I'm going to click Edit All Messages. That brings me up the ability to change when the first mail goes out. So say you want to delay that further, you can, or shorten or increase the delays for the follow-ups, or customize their content for just this person. Change their delay, change their content. When you're done with that, hit Done. And then what we'll do is I'll simply submit for review here and add them to the campaign. And we're good to go. Raj is in my Dylan CSM search, and they are under a review hold. If I want to take a look at their profile, I just need to click the little follow-through tag here. It'll bring me to their resource profile, and they're in and ready to go. And because they have a review hold, I need to reject or approve them before they can get messaging. Now, if we move on to Network, one of our supporting features, think of this like your Rolodex on your desk. It's simply every candidate we've ever been privy to here inside your account. That's both people in the ATS, if so synced, and people you've sourced into resource. You can then say, hey, I'm only interested in the following little bits of data. Show me everybody who is a CSM. That's 4. And maybe only the people who have opened but never replied to my messaging. So far immune to my charms. Looks like nobody matches that exactly. Let's change this to something more broad. There we go. 21 account executives who have opened messages but never replied. And I could drill even deeper, say I'm only interested in people who live in a particular location, or were talked to by a specific sender in my account, a colleague, or had a last contacted date before or between two dates. Then you can take the subsequent population in the middle and add them to a new campaign. Reminders, simple as they sound. You can set a reminder on any candidate profile. As we get closer to that reminder date, we will begin to light up over here and let you know, hey, someone may be more interested in talking to you because of something they shared in their messaging. Maybe in their reply they said, get me out of this cubicle and sheet cake situation I'm in at my current corporate role in August, and you would begin to see updates from us around August. Templates that I've been borrowing from here kindly from the team. Thank you, Doug. These are simply little bento box pieces of messaging that you might like to use over and over again. And when you're editing a campaign or creating a new one, you can drop in one for one any of these messages to be your message one, message two, and so on. You can always make a new one, duplicate, edit, and make your own templates at any time. Insights. This is global data. So this is the insights for the entire account. And you can tell us how you'd like to slice this. Let me open this up and pull the data for the entire account. Play some Jeopardy music. Maybe I broke it. Let's see. There we go. So if I'm interested in looking at the open rate in the last 90 days, I can do so right now. The reply rate for all campaigns the last 90 days. Just know that you can change the aggregate, the time range, the campaigns, and the users to then filter upon those folks. So if I was interested in the performance of 2 of my campaigns, I could just select them by hitting campaigns and pick my 2 campaigns and apply that filter. And it's going to give me a report on how just these 2 campaigns have performed, especially if you want to look a little bit comparative work on, hey, which one had a better open rate, which one had a better reply rate, which one had a better interested rate. And then I could take that stuff with me. If I hover in the upper right, I can expose the cogwheel and take it with me into an Excel workbook. And if I need to, I can also clear my search and go back to the default and begin changing these filters again. Settings menu, bottom left, it is the little cogwheel that is right next to my control panel. Let me just try to get to that. I realize Loom is trying to prevent me from getting there. There we go. If I hit settings, I can do one important thing, especially if you're new to the account, which is set your signature. Paste that in. Gmail API doesn't give it to us automatically. Once you paste that in here, we will then render it for you, let you know what it looks like. If you want to bump the spacing down, and we'll show you what that would look like at the bottom of any particular messaging. You can also add an alias if you have a Gmail alias. If you have questions about using aliases, let me know. Speaking of questions, bottom right chat button will get a hold of me and the team at any time. Let me know as you have questions about any of this. Even if you're sourcing on LinkedIn, you can also use the same little icon to start a chat on the upper right, as you can while you're in the app here from the bottom right. Thank you and have a good day.